Arena. Naruto and Gaara were standing a few feet away from each other. Each one of them had emotionless faces as they eyed and studied their opponent. But Proctor had already started the match, but neither of them moved, not wanting to make any mistake. Even though Gaara knew that his Saiyan would defend him, he somehow knew that Naruto was strong. Gaara's mode, since he was also a Jinchuriki and had the QB, the strongest of the 9 Biju. The silence in the arena was uncomfortable. There was no sound, no birds, no wind. The crowd itself was silent, watching what it was the most anticipated match since the first round. "Want help?" Kurama asked. "No, I want to do this on my own. I just need a refill should I go empty," Naruto replied, making Kurama smirk at the devotion of his vessel, and proving that he can be strong alone. Suddenly a small breeze lifted up and signaled the start of the match. Gaara's sand slowly started leaving his gourd on his back and started dancing around him. Naruto saw the sand starting to move and jumped back to gain some distance. Both of them were ready for their fight. Gaara already had his sand outside, ready to crush our fellow blonde, and Naruto was watching it very carefully with his Sharingan blazing. Gaara suddenly clutched his head in pain, making Naruto raise an eyebrow to why suddenly Gaara would feel pain. It must be the Ichibi, Naruto thought as he watched Gaara clutching his head, trying to relieve his pain as best as he could. Just as it began, the pain suddenly stopped, and Gaara slowly raised his head to show Naruto his face, angry for blood. "Prove my existence, Uzumaki," Gaara shouted and sent forth a wave of sand towards Naruto, intending to crush him instantly. Naruto started evasive maneuvers and he watched the sand splitting into various waves, trying to outflank Naruto. However, Naruto's speed coupled with the Sharingan made sure Naruto could predict the path of each wave, making sure he would never be caught. It's a shame they removed the water from the previous match. Since I don't have affinity towards water, I can't use high-ranking moves without a water source nearby, Naruto thought as he kept dodging the sand. Let's see if his sand armor can keep up with me, Naruto thought as he disappeared in a burst of speed. Naruto quickly outmaneuvered the sand and slipped through it by ducking and sliding beneath the sand and delivered a good right hook into Gaara, sending him tumbling to the ground. Naruto watched as the sand that he used to attack quickly rushed to Gaara to absorb his impact. Naruto also noticed that the sand armor around Gaara's body itself was barely cracked and had already reformed. That's some defense, Naruto thought as he analyzed in minute detail Gaara's sand armor, trying to find the best weakness. If he had the water, he would drench his sand, with it making it slower and more chakra demanding. However, that wasn't the case. Naruto picked a few shuriken and threw them at Gaara from multiple angles, but the sand quickly formed a round shell around him and blocked all of them. It seems that the sand is automatic since some of the shurikens went to blind spots that Gaara couldn't see, Naruto thought as he watched Gaara drop his protective shield, making the shurikens fall to the floor. Let's test his strength, Naruto thought as he was about to pull his big guns to gradually try and penetrate his ultimate defense. "Lightning style, shuriken shadow clone jutsu," Naruto said as he threw a single shuriken towards Gaara, and they multiplied into dozens. However, differently from other times these shurikens were created like this. This was charged with lightning chakra, and since lightning chakra is strong against earth, it should work. Gaara brought his sand to block the shurikens, but was surprised when they penetrated deeply into the sand, and he had to reinforce the wall of sand to keep the shurikens from hitting them. If they were made with chakra metal, they would have penetrated cleanly through his defenses, Naruto thought. Gaara quickly dropped the shurikens onto the ground and said, "Sand bullets," and sent multiple small rounds of spheres made of sand to Naruto at high speeds. "Fire style, great fireball jutsu," Naruto said and expelled a fireball towards the incoming sand bullets, completely disintegrating them. "Fire style, dragon fire jutsu," Naruto said as he flashed through hand seals and sent a stream of fire towards Gaara, who used a wall of sand to shield the flames. The stream of fire collided with the sand wall, and the heat generated from the clash transformed the sand into crystal glass, effectively disabling the sand that he was using to block Naruto's attack. "Would you look at that? How come I didn't think of that?" Naruto thought before he said to Gaara. "Chemistry 101. What happens when you superheat sand?" Gaara's eyes twitched at the comment, but ignored it as he felt his mother yelling with excitement in his head as he tried to spill Naruto's blood to prove his existence. Gaara sent his sand towards Naruto once again. "I wonder what he can do once his sand is gone," Naruto thought as he thought about it, since Gaara always carried that gourd with him, so he should be limited to that amount. So Naruto could use his fire style to disintegrate or turn into glass his sand until he runs out. Naruto once again disappeared in a show of speed and reappeared right behind Gaara, surprising him and making his sand unable to come out to his defense. Lightning style, lightning fist, Naruto called out. Naruto channeled lightning chakra to his hand and delivered a massive punch to Gaara's chest, completely destroying his sand armor, managing to wound Gaara to the point he almost broke one of his ribs. Crowd. Gaara got hit hard, Temari said. During her short life, she'd never seen anyone manage to touch or even wound Gaara with the exception of Naruto, who somehow always managed to sneak through his defenses. He did it during the preliminaries, and he's doing it again now. This is bad, Temari, Kagura said. I know, Temari replied. He might unleash it before the sound gives the signal, Kagura said, but they couldn't do anything but to watch as their brother was turned into a punching bag. Wow, look at him go, Ino said. She could barely keep up with Naruto's speed. Naruto still had his weights on, but he was pumping his legs with chakra and was going too fast for most getting to track. After all, only speed could best Gaara's sand defenses. Arena. Fire style, great fireball jutsu, Naruto said, and expelled a fireball of gigantic proportions. It quickly collided with the sand waves that were coming towards Naruto and transformed it into glass. Naruto quickly dashed into the glass and gave it a hard punch, completely shattering it. Naruto was about to unleash another jutsu when sand arms rose from underneath the ground and trapped Naruto by his ankles. Die! Gaara yelled as Naruto was quickly enveloped in sand. Sand, coffin, Gaara said, and Naruto was completely covered in sand to the point he wasn't even visible to anyone. Sand, funeral, Gaara said as he increased the pressure in his sand coffin, completely crushing Naruto. Yes, I've proved my existence, Gaara said, laughing evilly as he seemingly crushed his biggest foe in his hand, spilling his blood to his mother. Naruto, Kurna yelled from the balcony. Aside from her, everyone was silent, waiting for something to happen. Everyone was frozen in complete silence when Naruto's voice echoed from within the sand. Really, Gaara, you know I'm better than this. Gaara's eyes widened in shock as he watched Naruto very calmly walk out of the sand prison. The sand didn't even move. It was as if Naruto walked out as if he was nothing more than a ghost or the basic clone. It's time I got rid of your sand, Naruto said before he made 2 shadow clones, each one taking Naruto's side, one on the left and the other one on the right. All 3 Narutos moved in perfect synchronization. Fire style, great dragon fire jutsu, the clone said before expelling a massive torrent of fire towards Gaara. This technique was a B rank one and the improved version of the normal dragon fire one. Wind style, great breakthrough, the original Naruto said from the middle of the clones and sent a gust of wind that mixed with the fire and created what can only be described as an inferno. Gaara stood in shock as he watched the fire come closer and closer towards him. That technique had a very long reach and seemed to be really pumped with chakra. Sand shield, Gaara said, and all of his sand left his gourd and surrounded Gaara, making a rather thin and protective shell. It seemed that Gaara already lost quite a bit of sand in Naruto's previous attacks. The fire clashed with the shield, and Gaara disappeared from the audience's view as they could only see a torrent of fire, completely enveloping Gaara. Naruto ran out of air in his lungs and dropped his techniques to see Gaara smirking inside a glass dome. Gaara quickly shattered the glass and eyed the blonde. What can you do without sand? Naruto asked. Fool, Gaara said before going through hand signs. Sand rain, Gaara said, and strangely enough it started raining. However, instead of water, it started raining sand, and a good deal of it. I can easily create new sand by compressing the mineral underground as well. And as long as I have sand, I can do anything, Gaara said before restocking the supplies of sand and preparing the restart of his attacks. Looks like destroying the sand is useless, Naruto thought, sighing as he realized all that work was for nothing. Kage box. They are very skilled, the Raikage commented, but the Uzumaki brat seems to be in a pickle, the Raikage said. What makes you think that? The Hokage asked, confused. From the battle, I noticed he tried to destroy the sand, but it seems that the sand brat can create more, the Raikage said. And they both turned to the Kazekage for an explanation. After all, the supposed 4th Kazekage was known for using his gold dust. It would be a very dangerous problem if we ran out of sand, so we had to find new ways to create it on the spot, the Kazekage explained. Interesting, the Raikage said. The amount of skill and jutsus they are throwing easily puts them in Jonin levels of ninjutsu, the Kazekage said. It was expected from Jinchurikis, the Raikage said. Yes, the Hokage agreed. Crowd. How can they be so strong? Kiba asked. He didn't understand. He was from a clan. He trained every day and he was ranked in the top during the academy days. Naruto had to grow up fast so he could shield himself from the hate he received, Kakashi explained. Besides, from what I understand, he's read almost the entire library of Konoha, Kakashi said, and everyone had their eyes widened to the size of dinner plates. How is that even possible? Sakura asked. After all, Sakura was known by her book smarts. Simple. The Sharingan provides the user with photographic memory. Naruto can make hundreds of shadow clones, Kakashi explained. What do clones have to do with everything? Ino asked. Shadow clones are very special. When they dispel, everything that the clone learned is transmitted to the user. The shadow clone was originally created for scouting, Kakashi explained. That's amazing, Sakura asked. She understood very well the ramifications of said jutsu. How come they don't teach us that in the academy? It sounds like a perfect jutsu, Sakura asked. Because it's a forbidden jutsu, Kakashi explained, and a few shivered at the thought of forbidden. A shadow clone takes great amount of chakra to perform, and for most, creating a single shadow clone can kill a user. Even me, who has chakra levels bordering on Kage level, can only create about 20 without suffering chakra exhaustion, Kakashi said. How the hell can Naruto create so many? Kiba asked. Naruto is more chakra than anyone in the village. I estimate he has around 4 to 5 times the amount of the Hokage, and keeps increasing. Kakashi explained with a bit of pride. How in the world is that possible? Sakura asked. They were now understanding just how powerful Naruto really was. 2 reasons. He has so much chakra because he's an Uzumaki, who are known to have massive chakra reserves. An ordinary Chunin had much chakra as a Kage, and the second reason is because he's a Jinchuriki. The Jinchuriki tend to develop large chakra reserves due to having the Biju's chakra running through their coils. Put those two together, and you have a chakra monster, Kakashi explained. Amazing, Sakura said, amazed by Naruto once again. That's pretty much it. I've rarely seen Naruto running out of chakra. I was already on the ground panting and Naruto wasn't even sweating, Hinata said. Suddenly another person walked in the middle of the crowd, and it was the one and only Sasuke Uchiha. Sasuke, Sakura said, squealing in her traditional way. Her respect for Naruto may have increased, but she still remained faithful to the Uchiha. How are you feeling, Sasuke? Kakashi asked, but the scowl on Sasuke's face told him everything. You knew, didn't you? Sasuke asked almost rhetorically. Yes, I did, Kakashi flat out said. Then, why didn't you say anything? Sasuke said, yelling. Because he asked me not to, and I wasn't going to betray a promise to someone no matter what. Besides, I did technically tell you. You knew what his bloodline was, well, you knew your own, Kakashi said, and Sasuke scoffed. What was the first thing I taught you? Kakashi said, but Sasuke remained silenced, until Kakashi said, always look underneath the underneath. Sasuke simply crossed his arms and started cursing mentally at his sensei. Arena. This is the end, Gaara said before going through hand seals. Sand tsunami, Gaara called out, and a gigantic wave of sand erupted in front of him, going towards Naruto at high speeds. The wall of sand had the height of the arena walls and covered its entire width, leaving no room for evasion. It was a few seconds before the entire arena was covered in sand. Even the proctor had to leave the arena ground, and made its way towards the crowd, as it seemed the safest place to be. Naruto was nowhere to be seen, and Gaara thought his plan worked. And Naruto is trapped beneath all that sand. Giant sand burial, Gaara said, and slammed both of his hands on the ground. And shock waves erupted from his palms and spread through the whole arena, shaking it. You were weak, Uzumaki, Gaara said, taking a few deep breaths. His sand may be his absolute defense and best weapon, but pulling such amounts was rather chakra-consuming. I told you not to underestimate me, Naruto's voice echoed through the whole arena like some disembodied voice. Gaara was in shock as he watched Naruto swirling into appearance in front of him. The whirl seemed to be originating from his eyes. It was only a couple of seconds before Naruto was standing in front of him, unharmed. Kage boxed. What in the world was that? The Kazekage said, shocked. That technique seemed like a space-time jutsu. The blonde brat seemed to materialize himself onto the arena. It looks like some form of space-time ninjutsu, the Raikage thought out loud with his hand on his chin. Lord Jiraiya, the Raikage said, looking at the Toad Sage. You seem to always teach someone with talent for space-time ninjutsu, the Raikage said. Don't look at me, I didn't teach him that, Jiraiya said, waving his hands. And that particular technique seemed strong, as he didn't do any hand seals, the Raikage said. What is it with blonde and space-time techniques, the Raikage wondered out loud, making the Hokage chuckled. Arena. Naruto was running full speed with his gravity seals still on, as he saw no need to disable them. He was running and the sand was immediately after him, trying to stop him from reaching Gaara, and at the same time trying to kill him once and for all. Naruto easily approached Gaara and channeling lightning chakra to his fists and feet, he started his onslaught on Gaara. He threw a right hook and it hit Gaara perfectly, destroying his sand armor. Almost immediately, Gaara's sand tried to catch him, but only phased right through Naruto as he continued his attacks at Gaara. What is going on? Gaara asked and thought. He didn't understand. The sand wasn't able to grab hold of Naruto, and yet he continued to punch him like no tomorrow. Gaara was reduced to a mere punching bag. Naruto was again ready to launch the next rounds of attacks. Naruto bypassed the sand and slid right under Gaara and gave him a kick in the chin, sending him into the air. Naruto quickly disappeared in a burst of speed and appeared right behind Gaara in the air, and gave him a dropkick filled with lightning chakra that completely destroyed his sand armor and sent him to the ground hard. Gaara hit the ground and everyone could hear the crack of a few bones. It was loud and clear that Gaara wasn't going to win this match. Naruto landed on the ground and jumped back a few feet so he could watch the state of Gaara as the cloud of dust was settling. The dust cleared and everyone could see Gaara slowly rising and the sand whirling around him and reforming his sand armor around his skin. Gaara's hand took the hand seal of a tiger and the rest of the sand started enveloping itself around him, forming a solid cocoon of hardened sand. A few seconds later, a bit of sand started gathering a few feet above the ground, and started taking the form of a small sphere. Moments later, the sand stopped and became a perfect eye that seemed to be watching Naruto while Gaara was inside the cocoon, going through hand seals slowly while saying them out loud. He's completely sealed off, Naruto thought out loud as he was considering what to do in order to breach the sand cocoon. Naruto decided not to waste chakra. It's not as if he was already getting low, but other weapons are still good. You can't always rely on ninjutsu after all. Naruto was walking calmly towards the cocoon and whistling along the way. He arrived near the cocoon and suddenly sand spears shot from the ball of sand trying to pierce the blonde. But he continued walking as if nothing, and yet the spears looked embedded deep in Naruto. Naruto arrived near the cocoon and calmly went to his pocket and took 2 explosive tags. He placed them in his right hand and slipped right through the cocoon using his Kamui. Sand or no sand, it didn't matter what it was. Naruto's Kamui is a space-time jutsu, and as such, isn't limited to such obstacles. Naruto's arm reached the inside and released both tags and walked back without a care in the world. When he was about 10 feet from the sandball, he did a half tiger sun with his right hand and said, "Release." As he said that, the tags inside the cocoon suddenly exploded, but the cocoon remained, but everyone could see the bulks in the sand sphere due to the explosion. And since Gaara was inside and the explosion couldn't leave, there wasn't much place to run or protect himself with, making Gaara take the full force of the explosion. A few seconds later, after the explosion, the sand that made the cocoon started to shake and fall to the ground, revealing a slightly mutated Gaara. His right arm was completely disproportional and was entirely made of sand. Gaara also had a sand tail on his back, and half of his face was sand, with his right eye being Shukaku's. All in all, it was a partial transformation of Gaara's Biju. "Make me feel alive, Uzumaki," Gaara yelled as he slightly moved to test his new appearance. There was no sand on the ground or in his gourd as it was used to his partial transformation, so the lack of sand would be a plus. "I guess it's time I pull it off," Naruto thought before channeling chakra to his sword seals, his wristbands, and pulled his favorite weapon. Clang. The weapon sounded as Naruto grabbed it by the handle with his right hand, and rested it on the ground. It was a wide fan with 3 blood-red tomo on each side. It had a long handle with bandages wrapped around the base. The main part of the weapon was light brown, with the edges being black. Flashback. Naruto was 9 years old and was exploring his true house, the Namikaze compound, if you could call it that. In fact, it was a fairly big house built for harboring a medium family or a couple intending to build one. Naruto was looking through the various rooms around the house and started going down the stairs into the basement. When he arrived, he saw a lot of weapons. Swords, shurikens, daggers, hundreds of 3-pronged kunai, but from all of that, there was one weapon that was standing out from the rest. Kurama, who was looking through his vessel's eyes, immediately recognized it. "Holy shit," Kurama said out loud, making Naruto jump from the sudden sound spoke. "Damn," Naruto said, nursing his head. "Keep it down," Naruto said. "Do you even know what that weapon is?" Kurama asked. Naruto knew exactly what that weapon was, but he didn't seem particularly surprised by it. After all, his grandfather was known for using it quite extensively during his time. There, hanging on the wall, was Madara Uchiha's battle fan. "It's my grandfather's trademark weapon, so what?" Naruto asked, not understanding just what he had. "You fool, that is no ordinary weapon," Kurama said, and seeing Naruto's confused face, he decided to elaborate. "Just listen," Kurama said and entered his lecture mode. "You know the legend of the Sage of Six Paths, right? I did tell you about him a couple of months ago," Kurama asked. "Yeah, I remembered. So what?" Naruto replied. "My father, or the Sage of Six Paths, as you know, had special eyes, known as the Rinnegan, the eyes of the gods. He used the power of his eyes extensively during his lifespan. During his life, he created the 9 Biju, that's why we call him father. Understand so far?" Kurama asked, and Naruto nodded. However, that wasn't the only thing he created. During his life, Sage of Six Paths created a special set of tools and weapons he used. In total, there were 6 tools, and that particular fan is one of them, Kurama said, and Naruto's eyes widened. I see you understand the implications. For starters, those weapons are several times more powerful than any others. You can't even compare them. However, there is a downfall in those weapons. Anyone other than a direct descendant of my father, that is a Senju or a pure-blood Uchiha, those weapons require massive amounts of chakra to use, and would kill a regular human just by them lifting the weapon, Kurama said and finished his explanation. Awesome, Naruto says he eyed the weapon. He would definitely learn how to use it properly. Since I'm a pure-blood Uchiha, I can use it without that heavy chakra usage, right? Naruto asked. Yes, also I forgot to mention that those weapons are pretty much indestructible, as they are made of a special metal that my father himself created, Kurama said. Naruto hesitantly placed his right hand on the hilt and lifted the weapon from the wall, holding it. It seemed as though it was made of metal, though it wasn't particularly heavy, and it wasn't even draining Naruto of chakra. For now, it seemed as nothing more than an ordinary weapon. As Naruto removed the fan from the wall, a piece of paper fell to the ground. Naruto bent over and picked it up, and there was writing on it. Minato. It's good to see that you are still alive and well. I heard you are making quite a name to yourself. I guess you'll be the next in line for the Hokage position. I'm proud of you. I've sent you my favorite weapon as a gift, since there is no Uchiha alive that can wield it properly besides you and me. Also, my time is nearing its end. Use it if you wish, but I guess that with being your father, it would destroy your credibility if your word would leak out. A word of warning, I still intend to bring peace to this world, and I hope we don't find each other in opposite paths. Good luck in your future, and never forget your origins. Your father, Madara Uchiha. Naruto reread the letter several times and still had trouble believing that it was a congratulating letter of some sort from Madara to his son. Would you look at this? Naruto said out loud, but nobody was listening except Kurama. I may hate Madara for controlling me, but I guess in the end, he still cared for his family, even though he clearly warned him, Kurama said, as his respect for Madara grew a little bit more. He still despised him, but at least he didn't forget his family. To foxes, there wasn't anything more terrible and demeaning than abandoning your own kin. Do you think he would hurt his own son to achieve his goals? Naruto asked. How should I know? It's not like I knew Madara on a personal level, Kurama replied. At least he's trying to bring peace to the world. That can't be a bad thing, Naruto mused out loud. He said his time was short, so I guess he's truly dead, Naruto said as he picked the weapon and left the letter in the same place. It was the only thing he had that truly connected him to his grandfather. I suppose, Kurama said, and a flashback. Kage box. Is that? The Kazekage asked when he noticed the weapon Naruto had pulled from his store seal. There in Naruto's hand was the one and only war fan used by Madara Uchiha. It is Madara Uchiha's war fan. To think I would see it again. That was Kage said, shocked that Naruto was in possession of said weapon. He knew very well that that weapon, since it was created by the Sage of Six Paths, and that it was a powerful tool. I guess he was telling the truth. He really is Madara's grandson, to be wielding his legendary fan, the Raikage commented. Kumo had gathered all of the Sage of Six Paths tools, and they thought they had them all, but they didn't know that his fan was one of them as well. That brat really is a gold mine, Orochimaru thought. Let's see if he can use it properly, the Raikage said. He knew a lot about Madara Uchiha. After all, the man was a legend and hailed as one of the strongest shinobi to ever exist, being defeated only by Hashirama Senju. Even to this day, both of them are claimed to be something above shinobi, as even the more skilled ones couldn't even compete against such foes. Crowd. Impossible, Sasuke said out loud as he watched Naruto grip Madara's fan. Looks like Naruto's telling the truth. He really is Madara's grandson. It matters not. No one will stand in my way, Sasuke thought. What's so special about that fan? Sakura asked. She didn't know why that fan provoked such reaction from Sasuke. Well, it isn't exactly taught in the academy, but that weapon is very well known among the older population. That weapon was Madara Uchiha's trademark weapon. He used it to blow away every shinobi by creating powerful gusts of wind. It may have other powers, but I only heard of that one. He also used it to power up his fire attacks to that point he could unleash a true inferno onto his enemies, Kakashi explained, and Sasuke seethed his teeth. That weapon should be in Sasuke's hand so he could kill his brother. Unbelievable, Sakura said. Naruto seemed to be an endless pit of surprises. Where did he get it? I knew from history that Madara left the village, Sakura asked. That, I don't know, Kakashi replied while eyeing Hinata. Hinata sighed before she started explaining. It seemed that today she was the narrator in Naruto's story. It was a gift Madara sent to his son, and Naruto's father. Hinata briefly explained, not wanting to go into much detail. He had it all this time? Kakashi asked, and no one with eyes widened. He never in a million years would have thought that his sensei had possession of such a weapon. He had been to his house several times but never saw it. Well, he never actually went to the basement for that fact. I don't know what else to expect from that brat, Zabuza said, chuckling. He could never figure out the brat no matter how hard he tried. I'm sort of glad I didn't join this year's Chunin exams. I don't think I would stand a chance against such powerful opponents, Haku explained. Don't sell yourself short, Haku. You are very strong, Zabuza said. Thank you, Zabuza, Haku replied. Arena. Let me show you my true power. No borrowed power, just me, Naruto stared out loud as his grip on his fan became stronger. Sand bullet, the transformed Gaara said, and from his new sand body exploded dozens of small spheres of sand that went towards Naruto with groundbreaking speed. Naruto, using his Sharingan, calculated the bullet's path, and with a single swing of his fan, he completely destroyed the bullets, leaving no evidence of it. Naruto quickly made single-handed hand seals that he learned from Haku and practiced it by using them in conjunction with his fan, as his fan occupied his right hand. Fire style, fire dragon bullet, Naruto called out and unleashed a massive torrent of white flames towards Gaara. Naruto, as he was unleashing his fire, he swung his fan and said, Wind style, fan, wind. A powerful gust of wind emerged from his fan, powering his flames. That was Naruto's most powerful fire attack, an A-rank attack, however. This attack was powered by the fan's wind, easily making it jump to S-rank. Gaara coiled himself with his tail, protecting his head, and was engulfed in the flames, completely disappearing from view. Many people in the crowd, and even some of the shinobi, had to protect their eyes and avert their faces from the arena, due to the amount of heat and light being generated from Naruto's attack. The proctor was considering if he would come out alive, and he wasn't even fighting. He was more concerned in running for his life than trying to get out of the way of the flames that seemed to engulf the whole arena. Enough! Gaara yelled out and unleashed a roar that dispersed the flames around him, revealing a scorched Gaara, but otherwise okay. It seemed that sand powered by Shikaku's chakra made it unable to transform into glass and be destroyed. Gaara dashed towards Naruto, cocking his mutated right arm trying to punch Naruto. Naruto channeled chakra to his fan, and a semi-transparent circular barrier appeared in midair. Gaara's right arm connected with the barrier, and a shockwave erupted, but the barrier didn't even waver a crack, and Gaara recoiled his arm in pain. Wind style. Infinite sand, great. Breakthrough, Gaara said before multiple mouths formed all over his body, taking air in. They all breathed out at the same time and unleashed a powerful gust of wind filled with sand. Naruto pumped chakra into his fan, and swinging it, Naruto created an equally powerful gust of wind that negated Gaara's attack. Naruto placed his fan on his back and secured it with chakra so she wouldn't slide off. Naruto immediately dashed towards Gaara, and everyone could hear electricity crackling in his hands, as it sounded even stronger than the ordinary Chidori. Gaara brought his mutated arm to try and hit Naruto to disrupt his attack, but that didn't work as Gaara wanted it to. Raikiri, Naruto yelled, and infusing his right hand with lightning chakra, he continued his path towards Gaara, completely tearing through his arm and shoving his Raikiri through Gaara's right shoulder, making him cry in pain as blood splattered onto the crowd. Looks like Naruto can use that fan rather well, Zabuza said as he watched Naruto powering his flames using wind created by his fan, but also creating some sort of shield to block Gaara's punch. Yes, apparently that fan has more powers than I know, Kakashi mused out loud as he watched the battle unfold. They watched the battle unfold when Naruto placed his fan on its back, and they heard a similar chirping like the Chidori. What's that? Sasuke asked as he had his Sharingan activated and tried to copy Naruto's technique. It looks like the Chidori, Sasuke stated. That's the upgraded version of my Chidori, Kakashi flat out said. What? There's a stronger version? Why didn't you teach me that one instead? Sasuke asked, demanding answers. The Raikiri is an S-rank technique. You can only do the normal Chidori twice a day, and the Raikiri takes the same amount to perform, meaning you might not have enough chakra to perform it, Kakashi explained, and Sasuke scowled. How the hell does Naruto have more chakra than me? During our fight, he used a lot of jutsu, and looking at him throwing jutsu like shurikens, how can he have so much? Sasuke asked, almost yelling. You can call it the Kekkei of the Uzumaki clan. Their members are born with unusually large chakra reserves. An ordinary Chunin has chakra that can rival Kage levels, Kakashi explained, and Sasuke scowled. If I told him he was a Senju, Sasuke would most likely faint. A Senju using the Sharingan. Ironic, Kakashi thought. So, he has 2 Kekkei, Sakura asked. The chakra reserves aren't considered a Kekkei, so he only has a Sharingan, Kakashi explained, and Sasuke muttered something about lucky dopes. Kage box. I don't think this can be considered an ordinary Chunin exam, Sarakage stated out loud. The amount of skill being used easily placed them in Jonin levels. True, their skill is far beyond the regular Genin or Chunin for that matter, Hokage agreed. And by the looks of it, it really is Madara's war fan by seeing the amount of power he's using, the Raikage commented with his hand and his chin. Then Kazekage kept silent through the whole conversation, was considering when to signal the beginning of the invasion. Since Gaara seemed to be in partial transformation, it could at any time unleash the full Bichu arena. Blood, it's my blood, Gaara screamed in pain as he felt for the first time in his whole life the warmth of his blood. Suddenly the sand around rose to the sky and exploded in smoke. When the smoke cleared, it showed an 80-foot tall sand tanuki with 1 tail. It was the fully released Ichibi, also known as Shukaku. Naruto watched the tanuki in front of him very carefully. Suddenly all around the arena started falling feathers from the sky. So, it begins, Naruto thought as he placed his hands on his ram hand seal and said, "Release," breaking the illusion. "The invasion has begun," Naruto said as he prepared himself to face the fully unleashed Shukaku.